Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One, and welcome back to Volume 9 of Gathering Make My Day, the final volume of the Collector's Edition for the third one, Collection 3. So, this volume, the anime for the most part, does follow this pretty well, faithfully. There are some few minor differences. However, the bigger ones come near the end, some very big ones, I would say, some big revelations. But let's begin. Let's look at the artwork. I'm not sure who this. I believe this is Chidori. But we have this one of Tessa. I thought this was a lot more impressive. It's not so much. I mean, it's still a very nice, sexy show. But yeah, it's a little bit more. It's not as good as I thought. And in the light novel, the section goes by really quickly with her and Martha, the psychologist. It goes by very quickly, much like the anime, but I think the anime just does it a little bit better. Then, of course, we see, Tess, Kamina, and Sabina. Now, what's interesting is Sabina actually knows that she was listening to her conversation. They actually have a phone They actually do have a phone conversation. No, they don't have a phone conversation, but they do talk. So he knows a little bit about her. And we do see that Sabina has, purple hair, but that was changed to be blonde. And which kind of makes sense because Sabina is Polish, and we actually do learn her last name, oddly enough. It's Sabina Rekino. So yeah, she's Polish, which is interesting. She's also young, she's her 20 or 21. And then of course we see the Leviathan. Now what's interesting is the Leviathan is shown to be orange and white. However, the light novel makes it red, the parts that are orange are red, and you could talk. This is a very significant portion. I feel like I feel like the author should have stuck with the more reddish. They should have done some more for the light novel. I don't know, for the anime. Hold on, I'll take a look at it very quickly. I guess it is red. Okay, I thought it was more reddish orange, but the way it's described in the light novel, it's when they talk about red, it's red of a revenge, like that's the purpose of why Sosuke wants Kamina, but kind of how Tessa and her group, they just want revenge, they don't care, that they're not trying to stop him for a noble cause, and just seems like the Leviathan in the light novel just screamed more revenge, this is a monster of sort, it kind of reminded me the red ashtray from Mobile Suit Gundam a little bit. I don't know, it just, that shade of red is, I think, a rich dark red, not this kind of more lightish red. That's the impression I got from the light novel, but that's another I guess a little bit of change, or at least my observation. But yeah. Now, in terms of artwork, the artwork for this novel was actually really good. I do want to show a couple of them. I think the anime really, that the light novel really hits on. So give me one moment. Let's take a look at this one. So this is one where Tessa talks to Fowler. Yeah, Tessa the artwork for this is just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love this one. Just showing her facial expressions to the people. You get to see Mal in the corner. It's all good. And her choice of words was also a bit different as well. There is another one later, which we'll talk about. Let me flip to that page right now, so I don't, so I don't forget. But so okay, hold on. I need to use my actual camera. So, other big differences, there's a little bit more detail, obviously. In the chapter before the flaming sword on a stormy night, we do learn, so Kamina definitely gets a hold of the laptop. She doesn't actually give information she doesn't help Hunter or Wraith with their plan. That they kind of figured that on its own. They figure they'd be a little bit duped, and I'll touch on it a little bit, but yeah, she gets a whole lot laptop. She looks over things, and when she looks at the specs, realizes why why Mithril has been so much more potent than Agamemnon. They're like the Codral is slightly below the M9 in terms of performances, but because of the Lambda drive, it makes them a lot better. And also the mindset of Sosuke is something that can't be replicated by the soldiers of Agamemnon. Just something that's can't be replicated. And you could boil it down to it's love. Like the reason he's so successful is because of love. And despite its unreliability, it's still a lot more dangerous. And you can see why they're taking him out. Like the Belial is very impressive, and the Behemoth and Belial are very impressive. The Belial she doesn't get to learn any information about, but the Behemoth and everything she does. There's also a new weapon that Sabina drives, and her friends drive, Eligor. They do get a little bit of more action scene, but Kurt's master is not mentioned, but his abilities as a sniper are shown in it. Like he was kind of taunting them. But it does seem like the Kilgores can't really do anything against the Behemoth because Mr. Gold, the one who orders the attack on the islands, like he's kind of just gets fed up. They're kind of going against each other, but the Eligors, the Eligors can't really do much against him. Now the other big thing is when she's examining the ASs and everything, Agamemnon, she laments that the AS, while very impressive, in terms of like weaponry evolution, it's not that as impressive, say, like global communication, ballistic missiles. It's you could argue like a bit of a footnote, so to speak. I'm curious what like the author, like the Gundam, would think if in a similar fashion, like, yeah, they're impressive, but not as great. Like maybe the more advanced Gundams, yes, and I'm just using that as a reference because Gundam came before it and everything. Let's see. The other big thing, there's two last ones worth mentioning, is when Kamina is forced to leave the lead the mansion with Leonard. We learn a little bit about Leonard's backstory and his family. Oddly enough, they kind of have their resonance, like they kind of resonate with each other, and she sees his past. And there's a big thing that goes on. One, his mother was very beautiful, but she was a slut. She would betray, whenever her husband would go on duty, she would sleep around. So there's that. And it's possible you could maybe infer because she slept around that maybe the Agamemnon learned about her kids, whatever. So their home gets attacked, and the father obviously dies. The mother, I assume, also perishes, but she sacrifices, or maybe she dies later. She sacrifices her son to go with Agamemnon, but she keeps Tessa hidden. So like there's like a big fight. Like she kind of keeps her and like sells him out because he's a boy, he can survive. So we learn a little bit backstory. And it's like because Kamina just goats him, like you don't open up anything. She really gets under his skin, and then he kind of finally lets kind of see the inner workings. And he's not like looking for sympathy or anything, but he decides to let her in on a little bit himself. There's also like the inner monologue with Kamina talking about why she can't shoot Leonard, and it's actually on top of the building instead of inside, like when all the rain, and it's near the air, near the helicopter. So we see a little bit of that. Yeah, and kind of her little inner monologue, like it's basically she's a woman and she's the civilian. That's what it boils down to, but it's a lot more detail, and it's definitely worth reading. Before we get to there's another little incident, but when Gavin Hunter is transporting the prototype AS, it's basically a combination of prototype and a few other bits of the Arbalest, you could say, is what they are transporting, not the Leviathan when he gets captured by Callahan. It's actually a bunch of trucks, like there's a bunch of salmon, and so yeah, there's a bunch of people, and under his breath, like, you have no idea what's coming, you caught a little surprise, like you don't catch the big fish. And of course, that big fish is going to be the Leviathan. which when it makes its appearance, in terms of firepower, you could argue that the Leviathan is on par with a battleship, how much power it has. Like it has like a ton of energy. Like its power, it rivals that of you could argue its rivals that of a behemoth, but just more portable in terms of just like power input. Maybe it's not as big, but it's arguably lethal given that it has the lambda drive. So yeah, and it takes it all out like in light novel anime. But there is a difference. The second behemoth, he actually jumps over it and shoots the head from behind. Yeah, like he gets behind the behemoth uses the lambda drive. His lambda drive like splits it towards the middle, and then using the cannon is the big giant gun and just blows it from behind. That is a lot more impressive shot. Then everything else is basically the same. Now there is the other artwork I do want to show. Let me bring that up. Bring that down because I think is very nice, and I can discuss a little bit afterwards. But Kamina looks dead inside. Like the anime doesn't give the impression that she is like in despair, like she's about to shoot herself. Like she just looks very beautiful and everything. Whereas the light novel, does that a lot better. That's the other big thing, is that the light novel makes her look dead inside as opposed to the anime. But Kellen does talk about a little bit afterwards when she makes the radio call that he foolishly gave in to her despair, and now because she talked to Sosuke, she's willing to fight and continue living. So in some ways it could have been like he should have just knocked her out and then or let her die instead of letting her live, because now Sosuke is going to be a much bigger problem for them. But there is a final scene that the anime does not discuss. Gavin Hunter is alive. He is in a hospital bed, and he meets with a girl named Mirai. This girl is the one who was worked on the Leviathan. That girl is the girl that Sosuke saved in the first episode or volume 1 of the light novel. That girl kind of repays her debt and works on it. Like she's able to continue the work that the let's see, they do mention him. Give me a sec. I can actually even show that chat. That Bonnie Moratu continue. And you know what? Since we're actually here, I will show that set. Hold on. It is a very beautiful shot, but yeah. There is Mirai. There is the girl that she saved from the beginning. She looks very cute. Not gonna lie, very beautiful. But yeah, so he is alive. He's in a hospital. He's all hunky dory. It's a happy ending. I just like the little touch that the girl that Sosuke saved at the very beginning of the light novel has repaid her debt, and she's relevant. She's relevant in the story. I really do appreciate that. But so overall, very good. I think for the anime, I would probably rate it like a 7 out of 10, or maybe like a 7.5. Where the light novel, because of the ending and everything, I'd give it probably a solid 8. It's very good. But with that, I'll see you guys next time. I'm not going to be continuing Full Metal Panic. The next part of Full Metal Panic, we're going to be doing Season 2 or Fumafu. We're going to be doing that next. We're going to discuss, which is volumes 1 and 2 of the short stories. Those collections, we're going to work on those next. But I want to finish up Digimon Story Time Stranger, which I'm close to being done, presumably. I'm going to try to get it done by this week, hopefully. But with that, I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully have a wonderful day. I'll catch you guys more Full Metal Panic. I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping maybe the comedy section of Fumafu will be a little bit better aside from the final episode. But we'll see. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, hype if you can. Catch you guys next time.